Hey everybody, it's me. I just wanted to touch base with you and talk about what is left in the remainder of the semester, which is actually just a few more days. So I wanted to clarify some things just so we know that you're on the same page and that we're gonna end this semester with a bang, hopefully. So let's try to get to that point. And I think the best thing to do is to walk you through some of the expectations and the criteria of what we're going to be doing. So on all of these will be posted for you. So the first thing is I want to look at the information about this week. So this should lay out what is all expected. And then I'm going to go through the assignments and the rubrics and let you know, kind of walk you through those so that everyone feels like, hopefully feels comfortable with what they're doing or about to do. And some of you have done them already. So you're good. As far as what I've graded and what you've turned in, everything looks spectacular. So if you want to continue watching this video, that would be great. If there's something that you may have missed or something that you want to adjust, then feel free to do that. But otherwise, what I've seen so far has looked great. Okay, so information. Number one, participation points. Okay, so I know that there's been a little bit of confusion here. So here's the deal. If you haven't already replied to the post from last week, it's called modified developmental periods. So if you haven't already, I think half of you have done that already, but if you haven't, just retroactively do so and you'll get 20 participation points from for last week. So I've already posted an announcement for this week and I've made it clear in the subject box about that you should reply to that post. And just a little background, the reason why you're required to post participation in announcements each week are two. One, GCU has to have a record that you're still active in the class. Otherwise, it looks like you may have dropped the class and then they'll question it and there's kind of a whole little process involved with that. And then two, we need documentation that you are active in participation for those with financial aid. So again, if you show that you're not participating and you're not getting those participation points, and you're not on the board as much as you should be or at all, then financial aid could be affected. Okay, so it might seem unnecessary to do this each week. It's just a little simple thing to reply and write participation. But if GCU is really specific about the accountability, okay, for being active in the class, and that will show them that you are. So be mindful of doing this week. I know how busy we all are, but this is the easiest way for you to earn 20 points each week. Normally in an online class, you would answer discussion questions for participation, but I wanted the transition from classroom to virtual as simple and seamless as possible. So that's kind of where I'm at with the participation points. The next thing is the lectures. So I do prefer to do lectures. I believe my presence, as well as your presence, is most beneficial for learning. But unfortunately, this teaching and learning model has had to change and be altered in the last few weeks. So despite that, overall, you've done a great job on your assignments, we continue to soldier on and finish out our last couple things, and then be done for the summer and be able to relax a little bit. Okay, about grades. All right, so about half of you, and actually I checked and it's more, the majority of you have your grades recorded, or most of your grades recorded. The rest of you, we're still in progress. We're doing it as fast as we can. So I ask you to hold tight, know that we are tirelessly working on getting all the grades done and in. When they're posted, I will send an announcement and I'll give you a few days or several days to look at your grade. So if there's any inconsistency with your expectations and hours, you must connect with me immediately, and then you can explain, okay, well, why did I get these points wrong, and then I can explain, or if it needs to be corrected, that's totally fine. The point is that I do not want to have your final grades posted to the university and it be a surprise to you, okay? It should not be a surprise. Honestly, I really don't want, people knocking on my proverbial door here online. So asking questions and wanting grades changed is kind of a process to go through that. So you want to get your grades consistent and as accurate as possible before I submit everything. Okay, so that's kind of the goal or objective for the very end grading period. Okay, so which assignments are left and when are they due? This is just a breakdown of probably what you already know and what's on the planner, but I thought it was good to walk through in this format as well. So 1, your developmental periods table. Okay, some of you have already posted this. They look good. This is due on April 25th, and this is also on the planner. So April 25th, okay, which is, I believe, this Sunday, you need to have it in, oh, sorry, Saturday. You need to have it in by the end of the day, all right? Our third exam, at this point, you should know that this is due now on the 23rd, so it's due on Thursday night. Right now it's available, and it consists of 5 short essay questions that are based on the last, 3 of the last chapters in the textbook. And I posted some information about that. I'll go over some more stuff right now, just to, again, make sure we have things clarified. And then the last assignment you have is the issues of dying assignment. This is going to be due at the very end of the semester, April 26th at 11:59 p.m. And we're going to talk about that a little bit too. Okay, so bear with me as I pull up all my other stuff. All right, so let's look at the developmental period table. Okay, so like I said, several of you have already done this. This is actually something that was provided to the beginning of the semester, and it said it wasn't going to be due till the 8th topic, which is now. So what it is just kind of an overview of each of the stages of development, and then the components within each of those stages. Okay, so the theories of physical development, socio-emotional development, cognitive development, and then any concerns or issues. Okay, so let me read the directions. And again, this is already posted. Hopefully you've read these at least once or twice throughout the semester. But so for each developmental period, discuss the physical, socio-emotional, and cognitive developmental theories and identify the theorists. Okay, so that's important. Make sure that you include 1 or 2 of the important theorists that are behind these different cognitive developmental theories or socio-emotional, physical, etc. You also need to include any concerns, okay, that might arise during each developmental period. For example, we've talked about stage theorists. We've talked about the cognitive development theory of Piaget, and one of the biggest criticisms of that model is that not all kids actually develop cognitively at the same rate, and also Piaget's study was based on middle-class white European kids, Swiss kids, that were related to him. So there's some problems there, right? So that'd be an example of a concern or issue. So APA style is not required for the body of the assignment, as usual. The solid academic writing is expected, and documentation of sources should be presented using APA formatting guidelines. Okay, so each description should be a minimum of 50 words with 2 to 3 outside references. That does not include your textbook, for each developmental period. Not for the entire thing, but for each developmental period. Okay, so you'll add information to the chart as you study and research each developmental group throughout the course. So hopefully you have at least started adding some things in here. If not, you have some work ahead of you, but you still have till Saturday to do this. So this entire chart is due on April 25th at the end of the day. You will not be required to submit this to Lopes, right? So just submit it directly to the link on LoudCloud, okay? The people that have turned this in so far have done a nice job, and what I've seen overall is, you know, this can definitely get involved. So even though we have a minimum of 50 words, all right, it's most likely that, especially with citing 2 to 3 outside references per developmental period, that you're going to end up with a little more than 50. Okay, and so I've had some really well written and well cited sort of short essays for each of these developmental periods, and it's been a joy to read. Okay, so yeah, so that's sort of what to look for and think about when you as you complete this assignment. Now, as almost all the assignments, there is a scoring guide, so I'm going to pull that one up, and the scoring guide is your grading category, comprehensively completed the developmental chart and met the word count minimum of 50 for each category. So if there's 8 categories, 50 for each category minimum. That's going to give you 80 points total. And you're included at least 2 outside sources and formatted them in the appropriate APA style. And just to be clear, that should be in text and out of text citations. So if you want, you can use your textbook, but that will be in addition to the 2 or 3 outside sources. And once again, these 2 outside sources need to be peer reviewed and not just something you get on Wikipedia or Google or Psychology Today, okay? So then 10 points of the 100, solid academic writing, spelling, grammar, syntax, and I want to include sentence structure too. So I found over the course of the semester that sentence structure seems to be sort of interwoven issue throughout the class. Not everybody, but in general, that's what I've seen with writing. So sentence structure, making sure it's an active voice and you know, no run-on sentences, or, you know, if you need extra help, there is a writing guide on LoudCloud, and that should be helpful. All right. So you have a total of 100 points, and this is how it's going to be graded. Right. My suggestion to everybody always is that when you are working on any assignment that has a scoring guide, have your scoring guide in front of you and use it literally as a checkbox. All right. So for example, all right, I'm done, but let me check and see if I included 2 outside sources. Let me check and see that I have those cited appropriately in text and out of text. Let's make sure that I completed the chart, that I included all the requirements, met the word count, etc. And let's just double check that I, you know, I can put on my spell check or my grammar check, and just, you know, just verify that I have everything I need. Okay. So if you don't do that already, that's just a little tip that I'd like to share. Okay, so that does it for the first of 3 assignments that we're going to talk about. So we have the developmental periods chart, all the way starting back in topic 1 in the first week of school, and And there's that, okay? The second thing is the test. So I've noticed that 1 or 2 people have already submitted the test, which that's great. Let's see. Okay, so the test itself is located on LoudCloud, right? Hopefully you've all seen it. I sent an announcement out. It consists of 5 short essay questions. I won't say short answer because that can sometimes mean 2 or 3 sentences. 2 or 5 short answer questions. And I know that I have specifically talked about the criteria for that. Here is how I'm going to score it. So this might also make it more helpful. So this is a total worth of 120 points for this test, okay? And this is how it's broken down. So you are going to have 5 questions, and obviously you're going to have a response to each question. So for question 1, they're all the same for each question. I wanted to break it down so it's pretty clear. So for question 1, in all the questions, your responses is the first criteria. So the response you write is directly answered, okay? Directly answering the question, and be succinct and stay on point. So not kind of rambling all over the place with your writing. Try to stick to the point. And for the second grading criteria, and this is for each question, you need to have a length that's approximately 2 paragraphs. So your response must be insightful, must be thoughtful. That can be subjective, of course, but what I can definitely distinguish between is something that might be even copy and pasted or just put down as kind of an afterthought, versus something where it seems to be a little bit thought-provoking, maybe offer some question or questions that are kind of open-ended and might need, would be good for some sort of a discussion, which is what science is about. It could be maybe a little anecdote relating to your own life. Okay, so for example, this is what has happened to me, or this is what I know about this experience has happened to a friend of mine, and that would be very acceptable too. Citations for each question. So you must use at least 1 in-text citation from the textbook. Okay, so at least 1 in-text citation from the textbook. You can use other resources, peer-reviewed resources, or if you want, even non-peer-reviewed resources. But I'm really looking at your application of information from the textbook to your responses, okay? And then for 2 points each, we're looking at mechanics. So correct grammar, syntax, spelling, sentence structure, all of that good stuff. And don't forget that if you are typing this in Word, there is a grammar check, and there is a spelling check, and there's a thesaurus. And so please at least take advantage of that. In fact, the grammar check will probably help you structure your sentences too. So if you choose not to use that, then that's a little problematic. That's troubling to me, because that's a tool that I never had. I have to use my own skills and memory as far as writing. So this is a very helpful tool. Please make sure that you use it, and most likely you'll get these points, right? It's all about being successful. So all of that will add up to 120 points. So each question is worth 16. That'll be 80 points for the responses, 20 points total for the length, 10 points total for citations, and 10 points for the mechanics. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of how it will be graded. And yeah, so as soon as you're done, It's not due until the 23rd, right? But if you would like to turn it in earlier, now that you have the information, I would highly suggest that. It would be more likely you're going to get your entire grade, your final grade back sooner. Okay, the less that we have to grade, obviously. So yeah, so there's that. Hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. And then the last thing that I wanted to look at is the issues on dying. So here is the here's a breakdown of the assignment. Now, the assignment that was posted before is the same exact expectations, but what I did was sort of chopped it up a little bit so that there was some sort of categorical information, a little bit easier to read. So this guy is due end of the day on the 26th. The directions, there are two parts to this, okay? Number one, the first part of the assignment will be done before you watch segments of the video, A Death of One's Own from Films on Demand. It's found in topic 8, course materials or course study materials. I also have the link down here. So before you watch that, okay, you're gonna do part one. Part one, in a minimum of 200 words and before viewing segments of the video, answer these questions. What is your opinion on end-of-life issues? And do you believe people should have the right to choose to die? Why or why not? Okay. And what this is, let me just clarify, it's in a minimum of 200 words each. Okay, 200 words each. All right. Part two, so then you're going to watch the video. Here is the link, and it's going to tell you these are the specific segments that you need to watch. So you don't need to watch the whole thing, all right? But just watch each segment. When you're done watching those segments, then you need to do the third part, or the first part of the second question. So describe information that is new to your learning about death and dying, including the cost of chronic disease. So that can be financial, that can be emotional, issues that caretakers of terminally ill patients face, and if your opinion on end-of-life issues have changed since you answered that first part. So you definitely want to make that connection. Yeah, so there are one or two questions, one especially poignant question or scenario that is actually one of the questions in your test about physician-assisted suicide, and that's very much a controversial topic, and it has been for decades, but I think that has a relative value to this caretakers of terminally ill patients, and just issues about what life is and how it should end. Okay, so don't forget to include your APA out of text citations. So you're going to have in-text citations. Okay, so in the second part of the assignment, you'll have a total of 2 to 4 scholarly references. And let's say 2 to 4 let's say 2 to 4 each. I'm sorry, 2 to 4 total, because I think that you can answer these questions with minimum 1 or 2. So 2 to 4 total. You have to have one in each, at least one in each. But you know, if you want to add more, you can. So 2 to 4 outside scholarly resources total. Okay, for this one. Okay, And so this one down here is going to be 2 to 4 scholarly references for number 3. So the minimum you're going to have, you know, well, 2. So you have the minimum 4, right? So looking up for resources that are peer-reviewed and out scholarly. And so that's what you need to aim for, right? To get 4 at least. Okay. And when you're looking for for issues, I'm sorry, for like journal issues or for certain articles, I would definitely use just GCU Library. I would definitely use Google even, or Google Scholar. And yeah, so if you do that, then you should be able to find it putting in keywords like, you know, assisted suicide, or, you know, ALD, ethical dilemmas, medical ethical dilemmas, that kind of thing. So you can just type in keywords, all right, and you should get some good stuff that pops up. Okay, so I think that that's all that I wanted to share with you. I'm going to post this, and I'm going to post this in an announcement along with all these other documents, so that you have everything in one spot, and you have the due dates, you have kind of the expectations for the next week, and that's it. So just make sure that you keep doing your participation, and that's actually just for this week. And your grades will be done as soon as possible. And like I said, I will make sure to send an announcement in plenty of time before I actually post grades, so that we can straighten that out if there's any inconsistencies. Okay, I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are finding things to do. And I hope you guys are not getting too stressed about the end of the semester, because you know what? It's going to end. It's going to end. And it's what you do from now until then that'll matter. So just get going, dig in, and just do your best. Okay? That's all we can expect, right? Okay. All right. So with that, I am going to post this little video and post everything else. So be looking for it in about 10 or 15 minutes. All right. Thanks. Have a good day.